Hi, it's Blue Orange 22. I just want to do a quick follow-up video to my last video on minimum wage and the wage gap. I put a link to that video in the description below. I have kind of a follow-up question to that. Do you ever notice how men have to pay more for car insurance just because they're men? Like the car insurance rate is higher for males than for females. But no one ever talks about that as being like discrimination or being sexism or being unfair. Which I think is kind of interesting because it kind of shows like the difference in how we think about like discrimination when it happens to men and discrimination when it happens to women. It's like kind of two different mindsets. You know, it's like kind of two different standards for how we think about stuff like that. And what's interesting is a few years ago in the United States, they changed the law for health insurance that women wouldn't have to pay more than men anymore. Because before, it used to be that women paid more for health insurance than men. And the government decided, well, that's discrimination, that's unfair, to make people pay more because of their gender. And so they changed it, so now health insurance is equal for men and women, which I would agree with. You know, people shouldn't be discriminated against on the basis of their gender. But for car insurance, men still get charged more than women. And we have this difference of gender that people don't seem to think about the same way. And you might say, well, car insurance isn't really as important, but when you think about it, car insurance is something that a lot of people have to have. A lot of people, they drive to work, and that's how they're able to live, to get to their job, is by driving. Some people, like an Uber driver, or if you do delivery, driving is literally your job. So you have to drive, and you have to have a car to pay your bills, and to eat, to pay your rent. And those few extra $100 a month, that's a pretty significant amount of money, especially if you're working minimum wage. And that kind of brings me back to the last video, because a man working minimum wage, don't forget, he's not earning any more money for being a man. He's still earning that same minimum wage, but he's paying hundreds of dollars more per month for car insurance. Those hundreds of dollars per month, that's money he could be saving in case he gets into an accident and has medical bills, you know, surgery, medication, something like that. So it is a significant amount of money. Now, what I think kind of shows the double standard is how if you ever get into a debate with someone who says, oh, well, the reason why men are charged more for car insurance is because they're more likely to get into accidents. It's a statistical thing. You know, it's not about discrimination. It's not about sexism. It's just about the facts and the data. The data shows men get in more accidents. Well, okay, but that was the same logic that health insurance companies use as well. They said women go to the doctor more often than men. So it's not about discrimination. It's, again, it's a statistical thing. It's about the data. Women go to the doctors more than men, so they were charged more insurance for that reason. So if the logic you're using is because, well, men get in more accidents, that's the same logic as women going to the doctor more. So it's like two completely different standards. It's kind of the same thing happening. It's the same reasoning, but two completely different reactions to it. One time, when it's women being discriminated against, the government says, well, that's illegal and you shouldn't be able to do that because that's discrimination and that's sexism. But when it's men being discriminated against, it's completely ignored and it's even defended. It kind of shows the way that we think differently about when something is unfair for men and when something is unfair for women. And something that MRA say is that this actually happens kind of a lot in society. We have all these double standards against men that we kind of ignore because we think of it as, oh, well, you know, sexism doesn't happen to men, so it doesn't really count. But we kind of trick ourselves. It's because we're not thinking about it that maybe we don't notice it's not totally like that. And there are some things that happen to men that are discrimination, or they're totally double standards. And that's kind of what the men's rights movement is about. It's about looking at things like that and sort of explaining, hey, this is going on, and it's a double standard. It's discrimination. So anyway, that was just a thought for the day. I got a lot more videos coming. I'm still kind of setting up my studio here. I've ordered a mic. I've ordered a stand. I'm still kind of playing around with the camera and the lighting, exactly how I wanted to get it set up. But that'll evolve as the channel grows and as I kind of learn how to do it more. So anyway, thank you very much. Check out the links below, and feel free to leave me any comments.